This is the rapper, the Method Man, cosplaying as the X-Men character, Bishop. And you know what? In terms of execution, pretty good. And this is professional wrestler Jade Cargill cosplaying as Storm, and it too looks fantastic. The fans of these two celebrities have been pushing very vocally for them to actually play these characters in live action when they reboot the X-Men for the MCU. The purpose of this video, which will have their fans mad at me, is to throw cold water on these movements, and for me to proclaim great cosplay doesn't mean great acting. And I believe too many people take for granted what great actors do. Too many people in the general public underestimate exactly what they do. The great actors like the Denzel Washingtons and the Angela Bassetts make it look easy. It is not easy. We're going to get into that too as I defend their craft. First of all, let's look at Meth's career. He was born Clifford Smith Jr. in 1971 in Long Island, New York. He rose to fame in 1993 as a member of the Wu-Tang Clan, a collective of Staten Island rappers, aka Shaolin. The RZA, the Jizza, the Old Dirty Bastard, Inspector Deck, Raekwon the Chef, Ghostface Killer, You God, and the N-E-T-H-O-D, man. They became kings of the underground with songs like Protect Your Neck, The Method Man, and of course, Cash Rules Everything Around Me, Creamed It, The Money, Dollar Dollar Bill, y'all. If you're a Wu fan, it feels more like a cult than it does actually fall in a rap. Here's your flag and your symbol of entry. The Method Man went on to have a solo career with Def Jam. His biggest solo hits were Bring the Pain, his remake of the Motown classic with Mary J. Blige, I'll Be There For You. Meth has always incorporated comic books into his rap persona, usually by peppering the phrase Johnny Blaze within his lyric. Johnny Blaze is the original Ghost Rider, by the way. Meth did make his way into acting, with many appearances playing himself, or in many very small supporting roles, like in the Shaft remake or the Red Tails movie where he plays an aircraft engine repairman. He also has a small role in Belly and other movies. As a headliner, he co-starred with Redman in the slapstick comedy How High. So is there anything in his career that makes you think that he could pull off being a leading man as an action superhero with the heavy drama skills the mutant universe would call for? And no, I really haven't. What he did do was start to bulk up. He hit the gym really hard and then showed these images of his Bishop cosplay and hoped that Hollywood would take notice. So is the role of Bishop realistic for him? I'm going to say no, there's just not enough dramatic experience here. He also turned 53 years old in 2024. Kind of old to be starting now as an action hero. The Fantastic Four are being rebooted in 2025, so we're probably not going to see the X-Men to at least 2026. The initial core team would have to be established first. So we'll be lucky to get Bishop around 2028 at the early, in which Method Man would be 57 years old at that point. You probably would use somebody like Bishop in 6 movies over 10 years, so Method Man would be 67 years old at the end of his run. And remember, he's a core founding member of the Wu-Tang Clan, which has fan bases all over the world, so they're never going to stop touring. They're going to keep doing this until they all die. That musical tour schedule is definitely going to conflict with Marvel, who demands that the primary cast to travel all over the world on these press junkets. So at the end of the day, he's too old, he doesn't have the dramatic acting experience, and his Wu-Tang commitments are going to conflict with the long-term Marvel commitments. So sorry Meth, your Bishop cosplay looked fantastic, but you're just not the right guy for Bishop. So who would I pick for Bishop, you might ask? Well, my pick is Trevante Rhodes. He was born in 1990, so he's 34 as of 2024. He came out the gate hot, showing he could handle heavy drama with Moonlight. He showed he could be an action hero in the reboot of Predator. He showed he could be a leading man by playing Mike Tyson in the TV show Mike on Hulu. And he stars opposite Kelly Rowland in the erotic thriller Mia Culpa. So he's proved he's a leading man, he's got the drama skills, he's a former sprinter turned actor, so he has the physicality. He's listed at 6 feet tall, so if he started playing Bishop in 2028, that would make him 38 years old, and he could play it through 48, so he's still not too old when he's done. So now do you see the contrast between what Method Man does and what Trevante Rhodes does? Do you think Method Man could play Mike Tyson and made it look credible? Of course not. You need a real actor for these real heavy dramatic roles. Trevante pulled off Mike Tyson, and he can definitely pull off Bishop. So Trevante Rhodes is your Bishop, Marvel. You should sign him right now. Alright, let's look at Jade Cargill's bio. Jade was born in 1992. She's a pro wrestler and fitness model. She was the breakout star of AEW, which stands for All Elite Wrestling, in which she was the longest reigning champion in its history. As you can see, her physical fitness is top notch and she's a workout warrior. Here she is on back day. She's now moved on to the big time and has signed with WWE as of September 2023. Her ascension into fame has some people comparing her to The Rock, as a person who started out as a wrestler but has the look and the charisma that could become a big star outside the ring. So to answer the question, could she play Storm in the MCU? Well, I like Jade, but I'm gonna throw cold water on that, because she has literally no acting experience. You need more than just athleticism and charisma. You need a real actual actress who can handle this complex and multi-layered character. Basically, you need to find Angela Bassett, but younger. Angela was born in 1958, so she turned 66 years old canceled in 2024. When we saw her as Queen Ramonda in Black Panther 1 with the white hair, it said, man, she looks a lot like Storm. And the fact that she never got a chance to play this character in live action before is a real travesty. I'll come back to that later in its own separate video in the future. But for now, let me continue eliminating Jade Cargill for this role and pissing off her fans who are probably in the comment section right now going crazy. People that are caping for Jade say things such as, no, she doesn't have actual acting experience, but wrestling is acting, isn't it? That is true. Wrestling is acting. However, it's a one-note cartoon violence type of act. It's like Itchy and Scratchy brought to life literally on steroids. Plus, how many former wrestlers have crossed over into serious dramatic acting? The Rock's done it. John Cena a little bit. It'd be a stretch to say Batista. He's been more like comic relief in Guardians of the Galaxy. Hollywood has found out it's better to take a real actor and muscle them up rather than taking someone who already has muscles like a wrestler or a bodybuilder and try to make them an actor. It usually doesn't work. Another thing that Jade defenders bring up is The Rock didn't have any acting experience either when he started out. That's true, but you also have to put it in its context. His first movie was The Mummy Returns in 2001, where he plays the Scorpion King. And newsflash, the Scorpion King is not as a iconic and beloved character as Storm is. Plus, The Rock did not have to carry the movie. The headliners are Brendan Fraser and Rachel Weisz. The Rock's name is listed 7th on the marquee. He doesn't even appear in the movie until the 3rd act. He's got about maybe 15 minutes of screen time. His job is to scowl, look imposing, and have limited dialogue. And why? Because he's not a trained actor. So they hid his deficiencies just like they did with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Conan. Storm is a much more complex character than the Scorpion King. Born in America, raised in Egypt, orphaned in Egypt, a pickpocket on the streets of Egypt, makes her way to Kenya, becomes the weather goddess of her tribe, discovered by Professor X, comes back to America, gets fully trained, eventually becomes the team's field commander, becomes Queen of the Morlocks after defeating Callisto in battle, becomes Queen of Wakanda after briefly marrying T'Challa. She's a claustrophobic, a surrogate mother to younger members of the team like Kitty Pryde, an Omega level mutant, and now basically Queen of Mars by helping terraform it. So yes, a very deep, multi-layered character. You wouldn't let anyone with no acting experience play Storm. That would be like having no one with no acting experience play Superman their first outing. So who should Jade play then? I'm glad you asked because it is a black female mutant, just not Storm. And that's going to be a mutant named Frenzy. She made her first appearance in comics in X Factor number 4 in 1986. She's a black female mutant with superhuman strength, speed, agility, so she's a strong woman and one tough cookie, just like Jade. She started out as a villain on a team called the Alliance of Evil. And get this, Frenzy's name is Joanna Cargill. I'm not making this up. So Jade Cargill should be cast as Joanna Cargill, aka Frenzy. Jade doesn't really need acting experience to play Frenzy because it's a strong woman villain that doesn't require complexity. So this is who she should be playing, not Storm. So who should be playing Storm? I'm glad you asked because I have just the actress. And that's going to be Kiki Layne. She's a tall chocolate goddess standing at 5'9.5". African-American actress born in 1991 with both dramatic and action experience. She played Trish in the movie If Beale Street Could Talk, a period film about a black family in crisis. She played Now in The Old Guard, a Netflix original sci-fi action movie based on the comic of the same name, when she becomes a member of a team of immortal mercenaries. And she plays Akeem's daughter, Princess Mika. In Coming to America 2, when she proves she can nail an African accent, she spars with her dad, showing some awesome stick work. Even without her powers, Storm is vastly trained in weapons and hand-to-hand combat. Kiki's character also goes on to defeat General Izzy in combat, and Kiki has proven that she has the goods in these scenes. Here's Kiki in a dress that reminds me of the Storm wedding dress. In my opinion, Kiki Layne should be the first and only choice for Storm. So you see the difference here? Would you rather cast a wrestler with no experience for this ultra major role, or a trained actress who has both dramatic and action experience, who's also very beautiful, the right height, the right age? I don't even see why there's any debate about this. Think about it. When they did Deadpool 2, they could have hired any muscle man to play Cable. Cable's supposed to be huge. It could have been a professional wrestler or a bodybuilder, but instead they chose Josh Brolin and just decided to beef him up. And why? Because he's a real actor and those other guys are not. And they got a good performance out of him. He was pretty damn good as Cable. If you have an actor who has no skill or has no experience and put that actor in a lead role, it could fall apart in your face and just blow up like a time bomb. Case in point, Alden Ehrenreich, who starred as the lead in Solo, a Star Wars spinoff that was supposed to tell the origin of Han Solo and the adventures he had when he was younger. This movie is horrible. It is absolute trash, and it's trash because the lead actor does not have the gravitas to pull this off. The studio hated the dailies that were coming in because they looked like crap, so they fired the directors of the film and brought in Ron Howard to try to fix it and did reshoots. And according to insiders, they even hired an acting coach specifically for their lead star Alden. But it didn't really matter because it was still crap. The movie came out and it bombed tremendously. So how did one of the core characters of the most successful sci-fi action movie series of all time have his story and his character ruined by having a crappy actor at the top of the ticket? And here's what happened. Alden did go to acting school in the 2000s, but he never finished. However, he was able to meet Steven Spielberg in person at a friend's bat mitzvah and was able to show the legendary director a comedy video he compilated. Spielberg liked his spunk and thought he had good luck and opened doors for him, where he got supporting acting roles where he didn't have to carry a film, he was just in them. So this acting school dropout, who was basically doing a fake it till you make it with marginal talent and help from Steven Spielberg, was able to start a career in Hollywood. And then when he got a chance to go into the game as the quarterback, he couldn't throw the football. Let me once again state that people underestimate what actors do. We just take good natural acting for granted, but when it's bad, oh man, it's bad. Let's look at this scene from Red Sonja, 1985, with Bridget Nielsen.
You are a fool. We could have ruled the world together. Now I shall rule alone, and you will die for what you did to me.
What I did? You slaughtered my parents like cattle. My brother, my sister.
Vermin! What were their lives compared to this?
Now, that's bad acting. I think you can find better acting than an elementary school play by fourth graders. The actress that's playing the villain is very flat and her emotion doesn't match her words. Bridget's character does the very opposite and yells her line, but still feels like she's reading off a cue card. So this is a scene that's trying to be a Shakespearean tragedy, but you have horrible actors portraying it so it looks ridiculous. Now let's look at some really good acting from Captain America Civil War.
I'm not saying it's impossible, but there would have to be safeguards.
Sure. Once we put out the PR fire, these documents can be amended. I'd file a motion to have you and Wanda reinstated.
Wanda? What about Wanda?
She's fine. She's confined to the compound currently. Vision's keeping her company.
Oh, God, Tony, every time I think
What,
you
it's
see
100
things the right
acres
way.
with a lap pool. It's got a screening room. There's worse ways to protect people.
Protection. Is that how you see this? This is protection? It's internment,
She's
Tony.
not a U.S. citizen, and they
Oh,
don't
come
grant
on,
visas
Tony.
to weapons of mass
She's a
destruction.
kid.
Give me a break! I'm doing what has to be done.
Now that's a masterclass in acting. These two men, Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans, are incredible actors. It doesn't feel like two actors that are reading lines from the script. It feels real. You have natural pauses and you have the body language that tells you what they're thinking even if they're not saying it. And as the tension builds, they start talking over each other like people do in real conversations in these situations. If these two guys were not great actors, it would just be two guys talking in the room, wasting your time and being boring, which is not. It's building up the tension of the movie. So when they actually do fight later in the movie, it means more. Now allow me to come back to my original point of this video. Great cosplay does not mean great acting. This is Cutie Pie Sensei. She's pretty famous as a cosplayer. She's a very pretty woman. She knows these characters and the universes they're in. She appreciates the source material and she makes her own costumes by hand. Here she is cosplaying Rogue. It looks pretty good. Does that mean she should play Rogue? Here she is cosplaying the Fox version of Domino. It looks pretty good. Does that mean she should play Domino? Here she is cosplaying Gamora. It looks great. Should she play Gamora too? Here she is cosplaying Shuri. It looks absolutely incredible. Does that mean she should play Shuri as well? Here's some more of her great cosplays. I have a link in the description for a video about her. And yes, I'm being ridiculous. Just because she looks good in cosplay doesn't mean that she should actually play these roles, right? That's what I was saying in the first place. Unfortunately, a lot of people are fans of a particular person. They see that person cosplay as something and start caping for them to play that. And they go all over the internet making themselves look like fools, saying stuff that doesn't make sense. I remember when Ronda Rousey fans were pushing for her to play Captain Marvel, but that's when she was on top of the fight game and then she started getting knocked the F out. And now we learned that she's a totally toxic person. But even before we knew all that, with all of her baggage now, she still wasn't qualified back then because she didn't have any acting experience in the first place. Here's the high fashion model Anak Yah. She's of South Sudan heritage. She was born in Cairo, Egypt and studied in America. And she's one of the most in-demand models in the world right now. She turned heads and got a lot of attention at Heidi Klum's 2019 Halloween party dressed like this, which gave us a better visual of what Storm could look like in live action, which was better visually than what Halle Berry and Alex Shipp gave us, being that Anak is taller and darker than the versions we got in live action, which is more true to the Storm character. So yes, it does look great, but Anak has no business being Storm because she has no acting experience as well. So for the record, no, Method Man should not be Bishop. It should be somebody like Trevante Rhodes, who's about 20 years younger, who also has heavy drama, leading man, and action experience. And no, Jade Cargill shouldn't be anywhere near Storm. A lesser known and less complex character like Frenzy would be perfect for her. Storm should be played by somebody like Kiki Lang. Her age and height are perfect, and she's a brown-skinned woman, so we're not going to get another light-skinned biracial Storm again, which I welcome. And she's both pulled out heavy drama in a period movie, sci-fi action in the old guard, and grounded hand-to-hand combat action in Coming to America. So I'm pretty sure I stepped on some people's egos and pissed off a lot of people. Even if it's not popular, I'm going to tell the truth and express my opinion. But some of you have to let it go that you don't need to cheer for your favorite celebrity to do something that's outside of their pay grade and not in their wheelhouse. If you have an electrical issue, you don't hire an amateur, you hire an experienced electrician. If you have a plumbing issue, you don't hire an amateur, you hire an experienced plumber. If you need something like heart surgery, you better hire a professional like a cardiac surgeon. And just like those professions, if you have an acting role, you need to hire a professional actor. And roles like Bishop, and especially Storm, are the equivalent of open heart surgery in terms of acting. So is it too much to ask for to hire actors to actually know what they're doing with some experience for these major roles? You should be seeing the end screen for Key Sensei for a video about how great she is at what she does. Great cosplay does not mean great acting. That's why they have acting school. But great cosplay is an art in itself that does need to be appreciated. Until next time, this is Comic Killer 72 for Comic Power saying bye-bye.